Hello everybody, my name is Brady and we are back with another React video, and today we're going to be checking out more Hamilton. I said recently that I kind of want to fast track the Hamilton series. It's been around since like forever. I don't know, it's been well over a year since I started working on the Hamilton videos, and yeah, my inconsistent upload schedule has kept me from finishing it. I should have had it done a long time ago is what I'm saying. I am excited to get into the climax though. There is definitely a lot to talk about. We have like 3 more major conflicts to go through. We got a duel, we got an election, and we have an affair that we still haven't really finished the consequences of. So there's a whole lot to go through here. The song we have today is We Know. So we're getting into that affair. We've already talked about kind of the early stages of that, and now it's all gonna start coming down on Hamilton a little bit. This is a very interesting event, very loosely based on a real life meeting. And when I say very loosely, we're gonna get into that. So let's get started here.
Let's let you know what we know.
That is
Mr.
boss
Vice
music.
President, Mr. Madison, Senator Burr, what is this?
So let's talk about the cast here. And I'm not talking about who's playing the characters in the musical. I'm talking about the people attending this meeting. Because this is one of the cases of many throughout the musical where you have some characters as stand-ins for larger ideas or just flat out different people. Because not every minor figure that played a role in all of these conflicts is going to have their own on-stage persona to represent them. So this meeting did not feature Jefferson, Madison, or Burr. None of them were involved here. However, here are the people that were involved. First of all, the most well-known attendee of this meeting was James Monroe, who would go on to be President of the United States, part of the Virginia dynasty, which consists of Thomas Jefferson, who would be succeeded by James Madison, who would be succeeded by James Monroe. So James Monroe is one of the big figures who's talked about in this meeting a whole lot. There's 2 others. There's Frederick Muhlenberg. I don't know a ton about Muhlenberg. I do know that he was Speaker of the House, which is an important position today. I actually don't know if it was considered all that important of a position back then. You don't hear that much about speakers of the House during this time, but maybe he's just kind of floated under my radar, but he was there. And then there's Abraham Venable, who I think was just another member of the House of Representatives. I think he would be a senator at some point, but I think that's later on. I'm pretty sure this is House of Representatives stuff going on here. So those are our attendees here. I don't know who would represent who here, but that gives you a clearer picture.
We have the check stubs from separate accounts.
Almost $1,000 paid in different amounts to a Mr. James Reynolds way back in 1791.
Is that what you have? Are you done?
You are unique.
So this isn't just people picking on Hamilton. I mean, to a certain degree, political attacks always have a little bit of cynicism in them, like, hey, we want to take these guys down so our political ideas can get ahead, rather than it just being, we want to take this guy down because it's the right thing to do. But let's be fair. It does not look good for Hamilton moving money around like this, in the way that he is doing with James Reynolds. They suspect that James Reynolds is his partner in some sort of dirty financial dealings. There's some sort of embezzlement, like they're taking money from the government and somehow putting it in their pockets. I don't think that's what Hamilton did, but there are some people who still believe that he was embezzling. I think if he was doing any financial crimes, I've talked about this in previous Hamilton videos, it would have been insider trading, which he likely wouldn't have gone to jail for, but could have disgraced him if it was made public. A lot of people did insider trading, you just didn't want anybody to know about it. by being the Secretary of Treasury, he had access to a lot of important financial information that could help him get ahead financially in life. And you're not really supposed to do that. So yeah, it looks bad for Hamilton. So I can't blame them for wanting to be like, hey, what's up? What are you doing here? This doesn't look good on you, dude.
Equally situated by virtue of your position.
Though virtue is not a word I'd apply to this situation.
To seek financial gain, stray from your sacred mission.
And the evidence suggests you engaged in speculation.
An immigrant embezzling our government funds.
I can almost see the headline, your career is done.
I hope you save some money for your daughter and sons.
You best go and run back where you come from.
Oh, that's I never thought about that. There are little things in the musical that you don't appreciate the first time around. I'm sure everybody knows that, but I kind of like the "you best gone back where you come from." They're doing kind of an accent that implies his island origins. I don't know if the accent's necessarily good, but you see what they're trying to do here. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of pretty overtly kind of xenophobic in a way. Even though he was part of an island that was part of the British Empire in the same way that the would-be United States were, there is kind of a xenophobic thing that they're trying to express here. And that is just as much part of Hamilton as it is part of like the broader commentary that Hamilton's trying to make, because there is this big modern immigration commentary that the Hamilton musical just tries to make in general. It tries to tie some old issues to new issues. But Hamilton did get a lot of crap for his origins. John Adams famously called him a Creole bastard. And Creole has a term that has varying meanings depending on where you're from and who you're talking about. In this case, it seemed to have kind of racial implications, where a lot of people thought he may have been partially black, which would have been disqualifying for him in his political life if that were to come out, but that doesn't seem to be a real thing. Some people have tried to make the case for that, but I don't buy it.
You don't even know what you're asking me to confess. You have nothing, I don't have to tell you anything at all. Unless if I can prove that I never broke the law, do you promise not to tell another soul what you saw?
No one else was in the room where it happened.
Is that
So, let's imagine exactly what Hamilton's doing here, but he's like falling apart and emotionally like fatigued and whatever, because he would not have been this cool in this situation. He would have been genuinely worried about his situation. I believe. I don't think he would have been this cool, given what we know about it. He was, this was big. And this could potentially be career-ending, and he's about to unload something deep on them. Another thing that makes this look bad for Hamilton that I forgot to mention earlier, he had somebody who worked under him in the Treasury Department who was caught doing some of the same financial crimes that they're accusing Hamilton of. So people will think, oh, Hamilton was complicit in that. This is just how his Treasury Department was run. People were being sketchy and whatever. And I don't think Hamilton was as bad as that guy, but the fact that he was closely connected with somebody who committed similar crimes to what they're accusing him of, that also makes him look pretty bad. Like, I don't blame the Republicans at all. Democratic Republic. I'm just going to call them Republicans for short. No relation to the modern Republican Party. I don't blame the Republican Party. Damn it, I did it. I'm making it confusing. I'm not blaming these emerging Republican factions for being skeptical of him. That's all I'm saying.
a yes?
Yes. Dear sir, I hope this letter finds you in good health and in a prosperous enough position to put wealth in the pockets of people like me down on their luck. You see, that was my wife who you decided to.
So I will acknowledge this, even though I don't subscribe to this theory. This is kind of one of the newer theories by Alexander's wife's main biographer, which it's a fairly new idea of exploring Eliza Hamilton's role in his life, but her main biographer has the theory that the affair did not occur and it was a cover-up for actual financial crimes. I do believe personally that the affair did occur, but there is this element of we were not able to actually see the original documents from Mariah Reynolds. You get to see stuff that's like in Hamilton's hand, but he kept a lot of that stuff locked away. A lot of it just has not survived to this day. So there's a lot missing, and Mariah Reynolds denies the affair. She would continue to deny it and reinforce the financial crimes side of things. Like her husband and Hamilton, they would have been working together in her version of the story. But this version of the story is telling Hamilton's side of it, where he comes out with the affair and it kind of absolves him of the financial crimes, which a lot of people are still not going to believe him. Either way, some people will just be like, he did an affair and he did financial crimes. So he didn't win a lot of people over with this. Yeah.
Escorted me to bed, and when she had me in a corner, that's when Reynolds extorted me for assorted me. I paid him quarterly. I may have mortally wounded my prospects, but my papers are orderly. As you can see, I kept a record of every check in my checkered history. Check it again against your list and see consistency. I never spent a cent that wasn't mine. You sent the dogs after my scent, that's fine. Yes.
Not spending a cent that wasn't his. That's weasel language there if he is doing insider trading, though, because you can use your own money and benefit off of government information. I believe that he was not sloppy enough to spend money that did not belong to him. And I see a lot of the financial gains made in Hamilton's circle during this time, not as much by him, but by the people immediately around him, his family, the Schuylers. They're all making some very good investments during this time. Philip Schuyler, his father-in-law, is rebuilding his dwindling fortune off of some pretty good investments. Did Hamilton give him some information, or was he just a really good investor? It's hard to say anything for sure, but that's what we've got to speculate about.
I have reason for shame, but I have not committed treason and sullied my good name. As you can see, I have done nothing to provoke legal action. All my answers to your satisfaction.
My God.
Gentlemen, let's go.
So?
The people won't know what we know.
Burr, how do I know you won't use this against me the next time we go toe-to-toe?
Alexander, rumors only grow. And we both know what we know.
So we're eventually going to get to the Reynolds pamphlet, which I guess we'll talk more about that when we get to the actual song called the Reynolds pamphlet. But that is the direct result of this situation where Hamilton understands that this information is probably going to get out one way or another, and he decides he wants to get ahead of it. And there's plenty to talk about there, and it really exemplifies Hamilton's kind of political naivete in a lot of ways. When dealing with the public, Jefferson outclasses him so much just by not talking as much. Jefferson, when the Sally Hemings stuff comes out, he just doesn't acknowledge it, and he ends up being fine, and people just dismiss it as as rumor. The people who would have hated him hate him anyway, and the people who love him will disregard the rumors about Sally. So that worked for him. What Hamilton did, he decides to get out ahead of it, and the fact is, the people who hated him continued to hate him. Some of the people who loved him are going to look at that and be disappointed in him, and he generally is going to come out lesser for it. So, sucks to be Hamilton in this situation. He just didn't know how to deal with this. He was a financial genius, but socially just didn't understand how to deal with public perception. And that's why he was generally pretty unpopular from a more social perspective. Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting? There's so much more to go into here, but I think I should save it for when we get into the Reynolds pamphlet song, because then I'm just going to be talking about the same stuff again and again, and that song's going to be coming up pretty soon. So yeah, I think we got 2 songs. We got like 1 song in between, and then we get to do the Reynolds pamphlet. We can wait. We'll get around to that. There was plenty to talk about here, but one of the things that I find it very forgivable that they like replace the people who are actually in the meeting with some of the cast from the actual musical, because honestly, to add James Monroe, if they were to add one more character, he would have been the one to do so, because he and Hamilton had some interesting conflict. They'd nearly gotten into a duel over this. It's very interesting because James Monroe was responsible for the records of this meeting, and he had to go and get them copied. And I guess he did not keep very good track of it, and the guy making the copies may have made some extra copies and distributed them to people. And James Monroe as well almost certainly slipped a copy to Thomas Jefferson. So Jefferson would have known about this. So the rumors growing. Yeah, it's Monroe's fault. Is it malicious intent or just him not being discreet enough? Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe it got bigger than he thought it was going to get, but he was a little bit loose with who got their hands on this information. As far as trying to keep it a secret goes, a lot of people in power would cover for one another's affairs and would not want to open the door of talking about the affairs that people are having, because so many of them were having affairs that it was dangerous territory to open that door. But sometimes, if that door was already open, go for it, man. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna ignore that easy shot? That's the sort of thing. So once it got out there, it was out of control. And I would say that this killed Hamilton's career, but I don't think it did. I think we can get past the Reynolds pamphlet, and he still does have potential after that. His career is going to die with the Adams administration. His fractured fracturing the party between him and John Adams, I think that's what kind of destroyed his career. He went down with the Federalist Party in a lot of ways. All right, so thank you for watching. I went on for a while in this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with more Hamilton in the very near future. We're going to be wrapping it up soon, and when we are done, let me know what you guys want me to check out more. I'll be getting around to a lot of the other series that have been kind of lingering on this channel for a while. I want to start wrapping some stuff up, tie off some loose ends and such. All right, so thank you, and I will see you next time. All right.